What is good, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new edition of Boogie and the Bell. This is our third try of the night, and hopefully this is the one. And you know what? We're going to speak it into existence. This is the one. The Bell has been having some terrible quality, so if you haven't noticed, you might be able to hear me a lot better right now. You know, this might be our best quality video. But anyways, nonetheless, this is Boogie and the Bell. I am the Bell, of course. Boogie, how are we doing today?
Hey, good. I'm doing great, man. Good weekend of college football. NFL games have been crazy. WNBA is in the playoffs. I think they're in the semifinals right now. So a lot of good sports going on, and I'm ready to get into it.
Yes, sir. Shouts out to the ladies and shouts out to the connection. Let's keep it going. Anyways, let's get back to the head coach takes. That's going to be our segment number one. I say it like you guys know, but we tried this before. But we're going to get it right this time. Boogie, who are we head coaching? Where are we taking over? And who needs some help this week?
I'm going to be head coach for the Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski. Last year, the Cleveland Browns, they lost Deshaun Watson, got Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco and the defense carried them to a playoff appearance. This year, we're 5 weeks in. They are 1-4. Deshaun Watson has played terrible. And I truly do think they have a Deshaun Watson problem at this point. He's been very uninspiring. You know, three games in a row with a fumble lost. The offensive production hasn't been there. And even today was kind of the peak of it. Kevin Stefanski wants to go for it on 4th and goal. They're down, I think, 34-3 at the time. Kevin Stefanski wants to go for it. Deshaun Watson walks off the field. Leaves the rest of the offense behind on the field. He just walks off. He's like, nah, I'm good. So it's clear that
Coach, I know you were pissed. I didn't even see this, Coach. So I'm sorry to hear this, Coach.
It was second half, and homie just...
Oh, my goodness.
Internet connection delay. Yeah, okay, there we go. But yeah, no, second half, he just walks off the field. Coach is pissed. So really, it's a Deshaun Watson problem that needs to get solved before you lose the rest of the locker room. Because you can almost tell they don't like him. The coach don't really like him. I think the only reason why they're starting him is because they're paying him so much. So at this point in the season, if you forget saving this season, if you want to not lose your team and not lose your job, bench Deshaun. Bench Deshaun, throw in Jameis Winston, because at least Jameis Winston is a team player at the end of the day. Jameis Winston is a team player. Players can rally behind them, and maybe you can kind of recreate what you had last year, defensively led team that has some success. Because Deshaun's just not cutting it. And he doesn't even look like he cares. He looks like he's there just collecting a check. So I send him straight to the bench. I don't care how much we're paying him. He's about to lose me my job. You know what I mean?
It's dangerous what you just said, because you said something that a lot of people could miss. And at least Jameis Winston's a team player. If you're following the algorithm, if you're on NFL TikTok, if you're on NFL Instagram, every time you see Jameis Winston, he's in good spirits. Jameis Winston was Mr. 30 for 30. You know, Jameis Winston does have passing titles. Jameis Winston has left teams that got taken over the next year and actually ended up winning a Super Bowl. Through any adversity I've seen in Jameis Winston's career, he's always still going to be a good player. He's definitely a man who puts his faith first. I can't believe you just said it, because I didn't even notice it until just now. That might be the switch that they need. You know what I mean? Kind of like such an Andy Dalton situation, because if you're dealing with a defeated quarterback, that's the least healthiest thing you could continue the season on with. So bringing in some fresh energy sounds like a great idea. The money issue, Coach, it doesn't matter if you're not winning football games. You can't make money work that doesn't want to work. Sometimes you just have bad investments. You know, if people invested probably a lot of money into Dogecoin, some people came out on top. Some people held on for too long. It might not never come back up, and I don't think people should be banking on it.
Yeah, exactly. And if he wasn't guaranteed so much money, I'd cut him today. Like, he'd already be gone. But his cap hit is too high. He carries a $75 million cap hit for the next 2 years. So you can't cut him. You probably can't trade him. I don't know who would take him. So you're stuck with him. So he's going to be stuck on the bench. That's my head coaching decision. because I don't want to lose my locker room. Because once I do that, then I'm definitely getting fired.
Okay, coach. A little tough, coach. I ain't gonna lie, you being a little tough, but respectably. You know, you're not saying anything that anybody else isn't thinking. We need players out there who are gonna make it happen. So, all right, coach, no pushback. I think Jameis Winston's a great option because if nothing else, the guys are gonna go out there with some different energy. We've seen the way that the Panthers played. The Panthers kind of took another bad beating this week, but at least their energy has changed over the past 3 weeks compared to where it was 4 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. All right, you got it, coach. All righty, moving into segment number 2. L Boogie and the Bells trivia. L Boogie, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go first.
All right, A Bell. This weekend we had the first international game of the NFL. The Jets played the Vikings. Vikings came out on top to get to 5-0. The NFL, they have really tried to expand out on these international games, going to Brazil, Germany, London, and there's been a history of it. So, A Bell, this is kind of a tough one. Can you name me the 5 teams with the most international games played? Repeat the question.
Can you name me? Can you name me?
I got you. Can you name me the 5 NFL teams that have played the most international games?
The Broncos, just because I'm thinking of Terrell Davis for some reason.
The Broncos are not in the top 5.
No. Now this is crazy. It's always the Jacksonville Jaguars. I feel like they forced them to play out of the country.
Yeah, the Jags, their owner has a lot of ties overseas, so he likes to take his team abroad. So they have played the most. They're number 1. They've played 11 games abroad.
I feel like it's always the East Coast teams because the only places I know we play is in Europe. I think there was an Australian game before. Kinda. There was a Brazil game too, right? Anyways, I'm gonna go more East Coast. Let's go with another Florida team. Let's Jacksonville. We only have 2 NFL teams in Florida, huh? Let's go Bucks.
There's 3. The Bucks are on there. The Bucks are on there. They're tied for 5 with 4 international games played.
I want to say the Dolphins are too historical. Just like, they don't necessarily need the money to travel. But let's go with the Dolphins anyways.
Dolphins are number 2. They've played 6.
Really?
Yeah.
You're giving up a lot of money going over there, or at least a lot of home ownership. I mean, I know we have an extra game now, but it wasn't always that way. So to give up a home game, let alone to pay for that away game, is pretty up there. Let's go with the in recent time, I just remember the Saints a lot. So the Saints?
Not in the top 5.
I was thinking because of Katrina and stuff like that, like that would have been a good time for them to sneak like 2 in a row, 3 in a row. Give me a conference.
Let's see. There's a couple ties here, but let's
go 49ers.
Not the 49ers.
I feel like they went out of the country.
Think AFC teams. Think AFC teams. We got an AFC West and an AFC East. Not the Broncos.
It can't be the Chiefs. Let's go Raiders.
Raiders are number 3. They have played 5 international games.
See, they're so strong in Oakland, so I know they didn't give up a home game, so I wouldn't expect it. And then AFC East. Let's go AFC East. The Jets?
No. Guess again.
I can't even think of who's in that division. It's the Jets. The Jesus. You said AFC East.
Think a historical team that everybody hated forever.
I'm not about to say the Patriots are playing over, but that's an NFC. Or that's just the only team I can think of that everybody.
It's the Patriots. It's the Patriots. Yeah, they are tied with 4 international games played.
Wow, the Patriots. I would think that because it is the Patriots, it's like, no, we only play on our soil.
Well, think the Tom Brady years, right? People would pay more money to see Tom Brady,
Okay.
So the mid 2000, mid 2010s. Yeah, people wanted to see Brady.
All right. For sure. All right, El Boogie. Up until this point, we still have the Cowboys and Steelers that are currently on a delay right now, and we have the Saints and Chiefs on Monday night. What top 3 quarterbacks have the most passing yards? Just this week,
so
week 5.
This week. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
you got to get number 1.
Okay. Kirk Cousins, number 1, 500 piece. That's an easy one.
Kirk Cousins, 42 of 58. 42 of 58. I'll say it one more time. 42 of 58. Bijan Robinson still got 12 carries. Did not get into the end zone, and I needed that for my fantasy. But did not even get into the end zone. Still had 12 carries, and this man still threw almost 60 times. 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. All right, number 2, Boogie. It's pretty far stretch.
Right. I think Joe Burrow had a career day today, so I'm going to say Joe Burrow.
Joey B. Joe Burrow had 392. He was number 2. 5 touchdowns, 392 yards, 30 of 39. 1 interception still. So,
painful you have a day like that and you still don't get the dub. Painful.
Man.
Who else had a good showing today? You know,
we're going Trevor under Lawrence 395.
Trevor Lawrence had a good day. Is he in the top 5?
He is in the top 5. Let me compare him to. He had 260. He's top 5.
That's not 3. He's top 5.
Yeah, not 3.
Okay, top 5. Okay.
Number 3 is gonna surprise you.
Number 3 is gonna surprise.
His team's been great all year, but some way somehow they took a really bad loss today.
It wasn't Brock Purdy, was it?
No. Let's see what Brock.
Josh. Josh Allen had a really bad day.
That tough day.
Yeah.
They started off really hot.
Oh no, God, not saying no.
I'm so sorry. They had a tough win today. They actually lost to somebody you just said who had an off day.
Oh, was it Lamar?
No, they lost to somebody you said had a rough day today.
Oh, they lost to somebody. Yes.
He's on my fantasy. Young man.
Oh, is it CJ Stroud?
Yes, sir. We got CJ Stroud, 28 of 38, 331 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not too many tubs, but they got the win.
Okay. And I got
right behind
more?
that. No, you're good. That was the top 3, but
that was the top 5?
let's see that Packers. Shout out Caleb Williams, number 5, 304 yards, 300-yard game. Pretty big win. Beat down on them boys.
He looked good today. He looked really good.
Shout out to these rookie quarterbacks. They're really getting acclimated to the league. You know, some quarterbacks, don't want to say it, some quarterbacks that may have played for the Panthers have been having some rough goes. You know what I mean? Every quarterback doesn't end up having this much swing of luck, but I think the quarterbacks this year are doing really good. But moving right on into the show, believe it or not, El Boogie, we're already here. Our topics of the day. El Boogie, this one's going to take a little bit of time, though. So I'm going to get us going, and I'm going to get us started early. All right, I'm going to get us going on our topics. We're already here. And as a matter of fact, before we get to our topics, it is going to be part in the interruption. I was literally looking at the agenda and forgot to do our part in the interruption, but never better than late than ever, or however you say it, because I just said it wrong. Anyways, El Boogie, NFL play of the week. Give it to me.
NFL play of the week has to go to Lamar Jackson. Went into Cincinnati, stole a dub today. Lamar, it's crunch time. They need a touchdown. He gets the snap, fumbles the snap, fumbles it on the ground a little bit. Like he's trying to pick it up for about 3 seconds. Almost gets tackled in the backfield, scrambles. He's like dodging a defender. He's 15 yards back from the line of scrimmage at maybe the 25-yard line. Throws a laser to Isaiah Likely for a touchdown in the end zone. That play was insane because he should have went down like 3 or 4 times in the one play. But I don't know. I think only Lamar Jackson can pull off that exact same play in the NFL.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go super pointlessly Denver hype beast, and I'm going to go with the 100 exact yards pick 6 from PS2, Patrick Surtain II. Absolutely amazing play. Broncos down 3-10, just got somewhat of a successful drive. Got their first 3 points on the board. Raiders come back out hot, drive all the way down the field, get to about the one within the 5-yard line. And we get a pick six that completely changed the whole swing of the game. So I got to give it up to my man PS2. That was definitely my play of the game. That was the play I got to see live and in action, and it definitely changed all the energy in the Denver Broncos stadium. So shout out to them both. 2 heck of plays. But all right, now, of course, moving on to our segments of the day. L Boogie, I'm gonna give it to you first. Let's go with. Speaking of which, Broncos Nation. L Boogie, how do you feel about the current state of the Denver Broncos? Of us, of course, being Denver natives and Broncos fans. How do you feel? Three win streak early in the season.
It's early in the season. We're 3-2. Overall, I've been very happy. The team has surprised me in a lot of different ways. Our defense has been phenomenal throughout the beginning portion of the season. Obviously, you have Pat Surtain, but he's the only real household name on the defense. And keep in mind, a lot of these players were on the roster last year when we gave up 70 points to Miami. I think the scheme is a lot better now, but yeah, I think all of the people on our defense, they have balled out. Shout out to Riley Moss. We don't see a lot of white corners in the NFL, but he is balling out, and he's not perfect, but he got his first career interception. He plays hard, and I am a Riley Moss fan for sure. But yeah, I think our defense is great. Bo Nix he's looking more and more comfortable each week, which is a good sign. I think my worry right now with the Broncos is if we continue this momentum and we think we're going to be in contention for a wild card spot down the road, we need to start off better on offense earlier in the game.
Absolutely.
That play by PS2 that turned around the momentum, that got us going a little bit. But yeah, we need to come out hot, and we need more of the passing offense to be a little more cohesive. I think more time with the receivers, more time for Bo Nix, that'll happen. But yeah, that's honestly my only complaint so far. We've played some tough games. We've won a good one. We've lost some. I'm happy with what I see. What do you think?
I'm loving what I'm seeing, man. It feels good, As a Broncos fan, you see 10-0, but I never really felt out of it. I'm like, it's early in the game. They obviously take long to get going. I trust our defense to hold them within 20, which they did. I thought it was nothing wrong, nothing bad, nothing at all. As far as Bo Nix, let the man get loose. And he was being shy. He was being nervous. We have no idea what it's like to enter the National Football League as a rookie and all the pressure that comes with it, especially at the quarterback position. But you're supposed to look nervous your first 2 games, which were his first 2 losses. The next 3 game, I see a pretty confident young man. I see somebody who wants it more. I saw somebody who got feisty with his coach. I didn't expect him to get feisty with a coach too early. You see that a little bit more in your veteranship, but that just showed his passion for the game. So when you win the game, you remember when Travis Kelce almost beat up in the Super Bowl? And he almost beat him up in the Super Bowl, but it's just real passion. And I like to see that out of such a young quarterback. I like to see that out the squad. Our running backs, they got a little extra energy after a 5-6 yard run plus 6 yards to 20 yards. It don't matter. I feel like the team's just getting into an ultimate groove, and it excites me for when we do play the Kansas Cities of the world. And we're not going to win every single game, but I just like the motion that they're working with, and they are still playing pretty banged up. There's a lot of new faces out there. It definitely seems like they have to pick up a couple people. I know IR is a little filled up right now, and shout out Riley Moss, man. Congrats to your first interception. All right, now we're not going to hop on the Broncos bandwagon because we're a little more diverse than that, even though we specialize in that. But moving on, my second topic of the night is going to be NFL. The Jets versus the Vikings. L Boogie. Outside of it being out of the country, how do you feel about that game in both teams? Now, the reason I'm asking, I watched that game. I was up really early. I'm watching this game, and I'm realizing that you pick up a Aaron Rodgers, you pick up a Peyton Manning, maybe even like the Joe Flacco's, like these people who've won Super Bowls, you pick these guys up later in their careers because they're good at one specific thing and something that Tom Brady was great at. And that was the 2-minute drill and winning football games. Aaron Rodgers, at the end of the game, threw this interception. I believe that they hired Aaron Rodgers to win games like that. Because if not, then you have somebody like Zach Wilson last year where you're like you're so heavy on your defense. Oh, you could have an average quarterback in the league. You could get a new quarterback and try to develop him in this league. You hire the old veteranship to win games in those moments. How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers after week 5?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone was a little too hot on the Jets after they played the Patriots. They play the Patriots, dominating game, offense looks amazing. Now 2 weeks in a row, they've been poo-poo on offense, and this was a winnable game. It's not like Minnesota scored a bunch of points. Sam Darnold didn't necessarily have a good game. He didn't look like the Sam Darnold of weeks 1 through 4. So there's no reason why the Jets shouldn't have won this game. I think there's a lot of issues from an offensive coaching perspective. They seem out of rhythm. The run game has been abysmal. Breece Hall, who has messed up my fantasy, Breece Hall has not been like Breece Hall. Braylon Allen, who's their rookie running back, has looked better at times. It's been kind of a mess, and I don't know if it's more on Aaron or more on the offensive coordinator. I think it's more on the offensive coordinator, because they just don't look like they're putting the players in the best position. Obviously, Aaron, you can't throw picks, can't do that. But I think it's more of a coordinator thing than an Aaron Rodgers thing, because Aaron Rodgers still has it. He still has the arm. He still has
3 interceptions. 3 interceptions.
Bad day and bad day of the office. But I'm saying he still has the tools to do it. He still has the tools to do it.
He's still putting together those traditional drives that we were used to growing up as kids. Like when you're putting together those real 80, well now it's 70-yard drives, start to finish, play after play, 7 to 12 play drives. He is still doing those, but don't forget that the most important time to do that is when we need to win the game. And it hasn't happened this year. And I'm putting a lot of pressure on the Aaron Rodgers thing, because at the beginning of the year, I remember week 1, it was like, it's okay, guys. It's a long season. It's a long season. It's good. That was veteranship speaking out of his chest. He was letting his guys know, you're not gonna win every single game. We're now 5 weeks in, but they're 2-3. So when is it like, okay, well, when are we gonna turn it up? And I'm gonna make sure that we win on that scoring drive, because that is what his veteranship is there for. It's not there for nothing else. And granted, they could be 3-2. He got them where they needed to be able to get that field goal, but it didn't go in. So it's like when you hire that veteranship, it's to win the football game. Because if we're talking in the sense of a Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning, these games would have been won. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, if they continue on this path, who do you think is going to be on the hot seat more? Is it going to be Aaron? Is it going to be the rest of the team? Is it going to be the coaches? Like who do you think gets put on the hot seat?
Only 2 teams could go to the Super Bowl, but is everybody in the world going to be okay if Aaron Rodgers doesn't make it to another Super Bowl or maybe a deep playoff run? Yeah, we're all going to live with it. But just remember, the Jets were the people who made the decision to say this is our best chance to get to this Super Bowl before this old guy checks out. And you have to look back at that, and you have to look at your defense, which the teams like the Broncos, the Steelers currently, you have these super strong. You have these super strong defenses with head coaches who are defensive minded, not really a Sean Payton. And you're gonna look back and think like, did we actually get the person who's gonna put these guys in the best position? Did we get a game manager, or did we try to go for a superstar? I mean, we don't even have to talk about the Browns last year. Jesus Christ, you want to talk about a great team that was just missing one piece, and they just literally did the same thing that I'm talking about and going to get that veteranship. And it didn't work against the rookie. You remember the rookie? You remember what the rookie did to the vet last year? The league's changing. So I'm just saying, when you go and seek that veteranship, it worked great for the Patriots. It worked great for the Bucs with Tom Brady. It can work, but it's like, it might be a different new. It might not work in this Jets situation like they wanted it to. And granted, the man's coming off of Achilles.
Yeah, but it depends what success looks like. I don't think the Jets are winning a Super Bowl, but I don't think if they don't make it to the Super Bowl that the season's a failure. I think if you're in the playoffs, maybe if you win your division, it's a success. If you make it to the playoffs, it's a success. Because when was the last time the Jets were in the playoffs?
Okay.
They haven't been in the playoffs since I think 2015 or 16 or something like that. So, I think that would be success. I think Aaron's going to play this year and Aaron's going to play next year. So you have room to build. I just think some coaching needs to get improved some point soon. Some point.
Fair enough. All right, L Boogie, go ahead.
All right, for my topic, we're going to talk superstar wide receiver Davante Adams, who is currently at odds with the Las Vegas Raiders. Seems like Davante wants out of there. He's not happy with how the team has been performing, the offensive struggles. He kind of wants out. The Raiders, they seem like they're kind of ready to move on from him as well. So my question to you, A. Bell, what do you think they should do about that situation? Do you think they can fix it, or do you think they should trade him? And if they do trade him, who's a good trade candidate?
I don't know what. So one thing that sucks about the league, it's you want to believe it's not a player league like the NBA. It's not like where James Harden could just be like, I want to go to this team and I know I'm going to perform better for them and I'm going to come in with a better attitude knowing that I could perform better with them. The league, the NFL is not the same ball game. You're talking about tens and tens of more players, up to 60-man, 70-man roster, including practice squad, injury squad, and all that. I don't know how the Raiders are communicating to the league how his behavior is. And I don't know if that's actually turning people off, because all he wants is his money. It's not like it's an internal issue thing. It's not like I hate you guys, this or that. It is a little bit of an unhappiness thing. I don't know. So basically the point I'm trying to get to is I don't know what his value is to other teams based off of his current situation. So it's like Tom Brady probably had the vision that I can work with this guy no matter what it comes with. I hope that everybody else in the league isn't devaluing him based off of the same belief system. So I don't know what the Raiders can currently get for him just because of all the surrounding issues that they have in their current locker room. What do they deserve for him? Is they just need a backup quarterback.
They're asking for a second round pick and additional compensation. That could be a player, that could be several other picks, but I think the starting point is a second round.
I think that he's worth that second round pick, but I think that other teams are considering the fact that they're not in the position. Beggars can't be choosers. You guys want this guy out of here, and you guys want us to take him. Well, let's smuggle up a third round pick, maybe a third and a sixth, maybe this and a that, and they might not be able to get the capital they want for him. And as far as a player, nobody's throwing you your other backup quarterback. You guys might just take the L on the quarterback situation this year based off of the game I saw today. Not that Minshew's not doing good. It's just, what can you get for Davante Adams? I do think he has a lot of ball left in him. Do I think that he's going to be a Super Bowl changer on one of those teams? Not currently, based off of the way the season's been going and where he could be in his own mental space. But if he could get out of the bad situation and really develop a team for next year, yeah, finish the year solid.
I mean, Davante Adams, dude, he is a top 10, debatable top 5 wide receiver. So he could go and take a team that maybe isn't struggling, maybe doesn't have that star wide receiver production, and take them over the top. So that's why I think he's pretty valuable. I see several teams offering a second round pick for him and then some, because there's a lot of teams that could use a wide receiver of his talents. And you got to keep in mind injuries too. Injuries.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries have happened.
So Davante Adams versus the Ravens. Yes. I will throw you my second round pick for that. Davante Adams, with everything else that's happening this year currently with sitting out, is it the second round pick? And I think that's what teams are saying. So if your question is like, what do you think I can get for him? Well, if that's kind of what they want, I think that people are going to offer less because they're not really in the position to ask for more as the Raiders. So I think it's going to end up in a funny situation because it might end up him going to a team that wasn't first on his list. Especially, I'm assuming, you know, where he is in his career, you probably want to start competing for that chip or at least a deep playoff run.
Yeah, I think he's listed some teams that he wants to go to. He's named the Jets. He's named the Saints. Obviously, where two quarterbacks that he's played with before are. So he seems like he kind of wants to play with his buddies. But dude, I think he's Davante Adams, dude. Like he is so good and so consistent. I'm not gonna judge him based on what he's done on the Raiders because the Raiders' offense hasn't been good really anywhere. Running backs haven't looked good. Quarterbacks haven't looked good. Like it's, you know, so I think he's worth a second round pick. Several teams want him. And when I think of like teams that are like good candidates, it's kind of like who's a good candidate for? Like a good trade candidate for the Raiders or a good trade candidate for Davante? Because a good trade candidate for Davante would be the Kansas City Chiefs, who I know would be happy to send a second round pick, maybe even a couple other picks, just to get Davante on their roster because they've been kind of beat up at the wide receiver position. Now, would the Raiders do an in-division trade like that? Hell no. But like that would be best for Davante, right? But when I think of teams that maybe you wanna send him to, I would send him to like the Steelers. Either the Steelers or the Commanders.
Oh,
like I'm thinking now. I say the Commanders primarily because they are out of the NFC, and even though they are playing fantastic right now, and Jaden Daniels looks amazing, I'm still not 100% sold on them. Not yet. In like 4 weeks from now, I may be completely sold, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they end up finishing the season 9-7 or 9-8 or something like that, you know, like down the road, like this momentum kind of tails off. I wouldn't be surprised. So guess what that means? If they have a mid-season, that second round pick is more valuable.
Yeah.
Same with the Steelers. The Steelers have had early success. Is it going to be sustainable? I don't know. If they start losing, that second round pick goes up. So that's where I would send him if I was the Raiders, either Steelers or the Commanders.
I think, yeah, I mean, he's obviously going to get moved very soon. So I'm excited to see where. I don't know where he'll sign off to go to. I think it's just an unfortunate situation where they didn't really prepare to have that caliber player on the team. Quick question though. How do you kind of feel? I think it might've been rumor mill. But didn't old boy say it's like a package deal? Max Crosby say he's leaving with Davante. Now we're not gonna hop on the Broncos bandwagon because we're a little more diverse than that, even though we specialize in that. But moving on, my second topic of the night is gonna be NFL. The Jets versus the Vikings. L Boogie. Outside of it being out of the country, how do you feel about that game in both teams? Now, the reason I'm asking, I watched that game. I was up really early. I'm watching this game, and I'm realizing that you pick up a Aaron Rodgers, you pick up a Peyton Manning, maybe even like the Joe Flacco's, like these people who've won Super Bowls. You pick these guys up later in their careers because they're good at one specific thing, and something that Tom Brady was great at, and that was the 2-minute drill and winning football games. Aaron Rodgers, at the end of the game, threw this interception. I believe that they hired Aaron Rodgers to win games like that. Because if not, then you have somebody like Zach Wilson last year where you're like you're so heavy on your defense. You could have an average quarterback in the league. You could get a new quarterback and try to develop him in this league. You hire the old veteranship to win games in those moments. How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers after week 5? Yeah, Max Crosby, didn't he say they're like a package deal, or he was on that train as
Yeah, he
well?
said if you're sending him, then you're sending me too, which is like I get it.
Just
Honestly, it kind of depends what the Raiders want to do, right? Because if they want to go full rebuild, send off Davante, send off Max Crosby, because you're gonna get premium picks for these players. If you're gonna go full rebuild mode, like all right, we suck and we're gonna start over. An aging defending player who's still playing great, but he's older, and an older wide receiver, still great, but old. Like
I
if
don't know.
he
Max
feels that
Crosby did
strongly
his
about it,
thing
send
today.
him. He did.
Yeah,
He
Max
did.
Crosby
He
did
was
his
in
thing
most
today.
face.
It was good to see him out there. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel bad for Antonio Pierce, but I think the Raiders could probably use just a complete blow up, because obviously there are players who have faith in their coach, but there's obviously players who do not have faith in their current system, and that's really tough to have in the league. So, all right. Boogie, do we got any other highlights of the day? You got anything else? Anything else we're moving into next weekend? Let's go for a Saints Chiefs Monday night pick. I'm going Chiefs, but I do think the Saints are going to come to
Uh,
play.
they play in Kansas City. The Saints have had a couple down weeks, but also so have the Chiefs. Honestly, I'm gonna go Saints on this one. I see a turnaround game for them. Their defense is good. So is the Chiefs. The Chiefs also have a pretty good decent defense. So, but I'll take the Saints. I'll take Drew Brees. I mean not Drew Brees. Derek Carr shows up, primetime game, and he outduels Patrick Mahomes. I'm calling the hot take. I don't know what the money line is, but that's where I'm putting my money.
Okay. And then we got the Cowboys and Steelers. Looks like the Cowboys just put their first 3 points up. It looks like it might have been their first drive of the game. Who we got?
Yep.
We're in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh, I'm going in. Oh, Micah Parsons is not playing. I'll go Cowboys. Oh crap, internet.
You have to give me that take
I will
again,
go.
baby. Go ahead.
Yep, I will go. I will go Cowboys. Even though
Cowboys.
Micah
Okay,
Parsons is out, I'll take Cowboys.
I'll take Cowboys on the road. I think the Steelers are going to come back to reality. It's still definitely got them as a playoff team. Well, maybe these Broncos might take that type of spot, but I got the Cowboys taking it on the road. I think the Steelers defense will lock them up. I just don't think that they're going to have enough offensive production. But we're about to turn on the game here in a second and see how that goes. But I think that wraps up another edition of El Boogie and the Bell. I appreciate everybody for coming. We are back. Hopefully this quality came out good. Got a little bit of editing I think I got to do. But other than that, I appreciate you for being here. If you're here, El Boogie, do you want to take us out?
Appreciate y'all once again. Make sure y'all check out the full video on YouTube. Like our see our clips on TikTok. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let us know where we're right. Let us know where we're crazy. And yeah, we appreciate y'all sticking through. Sorry for the internet and all the technological difficulties we had today. But again, we'll see you guys next week, same time.
Best sports show, balling on a budget. Peace.